In this video, I want to give you an analysis of the painting Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer Family, painted around 1470, and the painter is unknown. It's at the National Gallery in London. The only reason we know that she's from the Hofer family is it says so at the top of the painting in the upper left. The woman is well dressed. We're not sure which woman of the Hofer family she is, as the name Hofer at that time is very common, like Brown and Smith is today. The most immediate thing that catches the viewer's eye is the fly in the upper left-hand corner on the woman's headdress. She is also holding a plant called a forget-me-not, and forget-me-nots and flies have been said to symbolize someone who has passed on. So this painting may be in remembrance of this woman. Another possible indication that this is a memorial for someone who has passed on is the space between the woman of the Hofer family's neck and her headdress to the left is shaped like a wick of a candle that's been extinguished. That is, it's dark in color. And yet the headdress around it has the extinguished candle still radiating light, which may be a nice thing to say about the woman of the Hofer family, but also possibly a tip of the hat to the artists that are being referenced. But the curious thing is that the fly is painted in too large a scale compared to the woman's head and hand, as though we, the viewer, might see a fly landing on a painting. Now, there's a book that came out about 80 years after this painting was created, which gives us a big clue about why this fly is painted on the painting. The book is considered one of the most important biographies of the early times. It's called Lives of the Most Excellent Painters, Sculptors, and Architects. It's by Giorgio Vasari and first came out around 1550. In this book, Vasari tells the lives of artists and some of their artwork of very famous artists. And he usually includes little tidbits of gossip about each of these artists. And one of the artists that he tells stories about is a famous artist named Giotto di Bondone. Giotto was a pupil of another famous artist named Cimabue. Giotto was alive between 150 and 200 years before Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer family. In Vasari's Lives of the Most Excellent Painters, he talks about Giotto being impish and clever, sometimes teasing Cimabue, and one of the things he would do is he specifically mentions that Giotto painted a fly on a painting that Cimabue was working on with Giotto, and Cimabue would flick it away thinking it was a real fly. So now when we look at the painting of Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer family, we see the fly, but we also see the woman's headdress in a large C, which may stand for Cimabue. Now, in my opinion, master artists used a secret technique, which I call multi-referencing, where an artist takes small parts from several works of art by another artist and incorporates it into a single picture. This technique has been used for centuries, in my opinion, up to the present day, and the earliest example that I have found is by Cimabue, whose painting, which was called The Kitchen Cimabue, multi-referenced Guido of Siena. Now, I think whoever painted Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer family used the fly and the large C in the painting to hint that that person was multi-referencing Cimabue. And I'm going to show you some of these examples here. This is Maria by Cimabue, or the School of Cimabue, painted in the 13th century. It's at the Basilica of San Domenico in Tuscany, Italy. It's part of a larger crucifixion image. And here we see Maria has the same face and angle of view as the head of Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer family. Maria has curved fingers of her left hand holding the handkerchief, which are somewhat like the left hand of the Hofer woman. The bottom of the handkerchief of the Cimabue has triangular folds like the bottom of the off-white headdress of the Hofer woman. And another reference we have with Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer Family to Cimabue is in the same crucifixion image, but from the picture of St. John the Baptist, which is on the right side of Jesus on the cross. Here the face is very similar in mirror image, also with a closed mouth. The right hands get much wider from the wrist to the fingers of St. John on his right fist, similar to the woman's right hand in the Hofer family woman. The collar of the man's shirt in the lower left in the Cimabue makes an acute angle similar to the acute angles in the headdress on the Portrait of a Woman from Hofer. The hair on St. John the Baptist looks similar in the shape of what was drawn as the fly body in the woman of the Hofer family. Now looking at a fresco by Cimabue in the upper church of San Francisco in Assisi on the west wall. This is a scene of a crucifixion in detail. You'll notice the face on the left has the same angle of view as the head of the Hofer woman. And in the Cimabue, the head on the left almost looks like the hair is an off-white headdress, painted in actuality on the Hofer woman as possibly a clever reference. And here's a detail of Madonna and Child enthroned with angels and prophets called the Santa Trinita Maesta by Cimabue. It's at the Uffizi Gallery in Florence. And here we see the same angle of the face from the point of view of the person looking at the art, from the Madonna to the woman of the Hofer family. And the woman, both women in both paintings have their right hand on near their chest, palm in, with fingers and thumb extended. You'll also notice that Christ's neck by the collar makes a wide angle, similar to the bottom of the headdress in Portrait of the Woman from the Hofer family. And the last reference I want to show you, although inevitably there will be others to Cimabue with this painting of Woman of a Hofer family, is the apse mosaic in the Cathedral of Pisa. The scene is Christ entombed with Mary and John, a detail of John. Here the faces are very similar. They could be brother and sister. The small stones of the mosaic by Cimabue is referenced by the ruffles of cloth on the headdress by the woman's forehead. The lines of yellow and dark red on the collar of the mosaic are similar to the lines of dark red and the red string by the throat of the Hofer woman. And again, the bottom of the neck of St. John has a wide angle similar to the wide angle of the cloth of the headdress of the Hofer woman by her chest. The arc of gray on the robe over the right collarbone on the Cimabue mosaic is like the arc of green leaf on the left side of the forget-me-not plant. So whoever painted this Portrait of a Woman of the Hofer family was paying homage to this woman who possibly passed on, and also paying homage to the great artist who is Cimabue. I also have a free newsletter where I talk about tools for understanding and creating master art. Thanks for watching.